ये ऑब्जर्वेशन देखा था खोसला's थियरी में कि खोसला एंड अदर इंजीनियर्स अलोंग विद हिम व्हाट दे हैव डन दैट दे हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड कि फेल क्यों होता है। जो ब्लिग थ्योरी और लेंस थ्योरी से स्ट्रक्चर बने थे, जो वियर्स बने थे, फ्लोर बना था, जो सेफ्टी स्ट्रक्चर्स बने थे, क्यों फेल हो रहे हैं। तो उनके ऑब्जर्वेशन के बेस्ड पे उन्होंने एनालाइज किया और एनालिसिस के बेस पे उन्होंने फिर एक डिज़ाइन दिया। तो डिज़ाइन में हमने देखा कि दो टाइप के डिज़ाइन हैं। एक सब सरफेस डिज़ाइन है, जो फ्लोर का डिज़ाइन बेसिकली आप कह सकते हो, और एक जो सरफेस फ्लो है उसके अगेंस्ट, फेलियर के अगेंस्ट हमें डिज़ाइन देना पड़ता है। तो ये जो थियरी है बेसिकली सब सरफेस फ्लो के लिए है, और सब सरफेस फ्लो कैसे फेल कर देता है उसके लिए है। तो उनके 3-4 ऑब्जर्वेशन थे कि कौन से पाइल्स इफेक्टिव हैं और कौन से पाइल कम इफेक्टिव हैं, और कितनी डेप्थ है तो कौन सा पाइल इफेक्टिव ज़्यादा होगा। तो ये आपने खोसला थियरी में दो ऑब्जर्वेशन थे, और लास्ट में दो जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है कि टेल एंड पे जो पाइल लगा हुआ है वो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है, होना ही होना चाहिए, और क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट कैसे उसको हम जो लिमिट जो सेफ ग्रेडियंट है उसकी रख सकते हैं, और लास्ट वाला जो है कट ऑफ है डाउन स्ट्रीम की होना ही होना चाहिए वाला था जो। तो उन लोगों ने ये जो प्रोसेस हो रहा था एनालिसिस में, उन्होंने समझाया था कि कैसे इसको सारा का सारा, कि जो ब्लिक की थियरी थी कि जो फ्लो सीपेज फ्लो है वो जो फ्लोर है उसके टच होके या एडहेयर होके नहीं जा रहा है, बल्कि कैसे जा रहा है कि ये फ्लो नीचे गिर रहा है और फिर वापस ऊपर नहीं चढ़ रहा, पाइल के साथ ही एडहेयर होता हुआ चिपका हुआ पाइल के साथ ऊपर नहीं चढ़ रहा। तो ये नीचे से ही फ्लो नेट के एक पोर्शन में चला जाता है, और उसका एक प्रेशर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन अलग होता है। तो बेसिकली जो ये प्रेशर अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, ये ही मेजर चीज है जो खोसला ने बताया था अपने सारे के सारे जो फाइंडिंग्स हैं उसके। ये अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर कैलकुलेट करने के लिए ही है, यही एक्चुअली आपको जो हमारा स्ट्रक्चर है उस पर ब्रेकिंग या रप्चर क्रिएट करता है कंक्रीट में। तो ये इसकी यदि अमाउंट मिल जाए, हमें सही सही अमाउंट मिल जाए तो रप्चर नहीं होगा। रप्चर नहीं होगा तो हमारा जो हाइड्रोलिक ग्रेडियंट लाइन है या एग्जिट पे जो हमारा जो ग्रेडियंट है वो सेफ रहेगा, हमारा स्ट्रक्चर सेफ रहेगा। तो ये एक फोर्स मान सकते हैं हमारे स्ट्रक्चर पे एक्ट होने वाला, मेजर सब सरफेस फ्लो के फॉर्म में जो प्रेशर एक्ट हो रहा है वो है ये। तो उन्होंने खोसला थ्योरी ने जो अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स थी उसको लाप्लास इक्वेशन से उन्होंने सोल्व किया, और फाई जो है दैट इज नथिंग बट के एच के, जो ये फंक्शन है फाई, वो फाई के एच एच है जो हेड है, जो हमारा अप फ्रंट वियर या बेराज के अप फ्रंट हेड है वो है। और लास्ट टाइम हमने देखा कि के डार्सिस कोफिशिएंट है, जो कि कोई भी सब सरफेस फ्लो हो, कोई भी फ्लो थ्रू फॉर्मेशन हो, सोइल मीडिया हो, उसके लिए हमें कोई जब भी हमें डिस्क्राइब करना है तो हमें बेसिक जो फंडामेंटल लॉ है वो डार्सिस का लॉ है कि कितना हेड अवेलेबल है उसी के हिसाब से उसकी वेलोसिटी होगी, और v इजिकल टू के आई जो हम यूज करते हैं, डार्सिस इक्वेशन जो यूज करते हैं, v वेलोसिटी ऑफ फ्लो इन दी पोरस मीडिया, जो वॉइड्स हैं उसमें कितना फ्लो रहता है, वो आई यानी कि h बाई एल पे डिपेंड करता है। h बाई एल इज नथिंग बट h इज दिस एंड l इज द लेंथ ऑफ फ्लो, यू कैन से लेंथ ऑफ पाइप भी हो जाता है पाइप फ्लो में, और यहाँ पे हमारे लेंथ ऑफ फ्लोर भी हो जाता है कई बार जो h बाई एल है, क्योंकि हम उतनी ही लेंथ में इंटरेस्टेड हैं तो हमारा उसमें डिपेंड करता है। तो ये एक लाप्लास इक्वेशन सोल्व किया था, और लाप्लास का ग्राफिकल जो रिप्रेजेंटेशन था हमने ये देखा था लास्ट टाइम कि स्ट्रीम लाइंस और इक्विपोटेंशियल लाइंस में उन्होंने डिस्क्राइब किया था। और इक्विपोटेंशियल और स्ट्रीम लाइंस हैं वो इस तरह से बनी हुई है कि ये जो जो लाइन थी फर्स्ट हमने देखी कि एडहेर होके नहीं जा रही है बल्कि ऐसे ऐसे जा रही है। तो यहाँ छोटा सा इंटरमीडिएट यदि हम पाई लगा भी दे तो वो इनइफेक्टिव होगा हमारे डिजाइन में। हम खाली खोटी की कंक्रीट डाल रहे हैं, स्ट्रक्चर की वैल्यू बढ़ा रहे हैं, कॉस्टिंग बढ़ा रहे हैं, बट वो इफेक्टिव नहीं है डिजाइन में, इसको रोकने के लिए इफेक्टिव नहीं है। तो हमें चाहिए कि यहाँ पे जो ये स्ट्रीम लाइन है उसकी स्टडी हमें देखना चाहिए कि कैसी है, और यही एक्चुअली फोर्स एक्सर्ट करेगी। और लास्ट में हमने देखा था कि ये पिजोमेट्रिक ट्यूब है, ये जब हम किसी इक्विपोटेंशियल लाइन पे इंसर्ट करें, ये एक इक्विपोटेंशियल लाइन है। आप मेरा एरो देख पा रहे हैं? My arrow is visible, na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. तो ये जो इक्विपोटेंशियल लाइन है, इसके ऊपर यहाँ से पानी ऊपर चढ़ रहा है, इसका इक्वल लेवल पे चढ़ रहा है, तो ये कितना ऊपर चढ़ सकता है? जो H ये दिखा रखा है हमें, ये सेफ एग्जिट ग्रेडियंट, यहाँ पे H/L जो हमने देखा था कि सबमर्ज जो वेट है सोइल का, वो जो अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, वो एक क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट देगा हमें। Fs इजिकल टू WS, हमने इक्वेशन देखी थी, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में वही आएगी। तो ये जो जितना हेड ऊपर जा रहा है वो परमिसिबल लिमिट में ही होना चाहिए, उससे ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो ये किल करने के लिए इन्होंने पूरा का पूरा डिजाइन दिया इसका। तो हम आगे चलते हैं इसका। ये जो पाइपिंग था, जो फॉर्मेशन ऑफ पाइपिंग है, उसको एक्सप्लेन किया था खोसला ने। ये खोसला का दिया हुआ डायग्राम है कि पाइपिंग कैसे चालू होती है। उन्होंने एक्सप्लेन किया था कि यहाँ फोर्स वर्टिकली अप हो जाते हैं और सोइल बॉइलिंग स्टार्ट होती है। पार्टिकल सोइल के यदि ज़्यादा है यहाँ पे अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर, तो यहाँ से सोइल पार्टिकल्स निकल के फ्लो में जाते रहेंगे और यहाँ से धीरे धीरे कटाव होता रहेगा, सोइल का रिमूवल होता रहेगा। तो सोइल विल गेट इरोडेड इनटू हियर एंड दिस फिनोमिना विल स्टार्ट बैकवर्ड एंड रीचिंग अप टू द अपस्ट्रीम ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर। एंड ये स्ट्रक्चर ऐसे, और ये सब्सिडेंस से इस स्ट्रक्चर का लास्ट में फेलियर हो जाएगा यदि ये यहाँ से बॉइलिंग स्टार्ट हो चुकी है। तो ये जो कितना टाइम लगेगा, ये कोई एक दिन में फेल नहीं होने वाला है। ये जो फिनोमिना है पाइपिंग की, इट मे टेक लाइक 3 months और 6 months और इवन इन सम केसेस इट टुक 10 years of that really the boiling has started and it has reached up to this level। तो कुछ केसेस में 1-2 साल में ही फेल हो गए स्ट्रक्चर, और कुछ एक केसेस में 10 साल लगे कि ये थोड़ा ठीक था, स्टेबल था, तो 10 साल ये फ्लो एस्टैब्लिश होने में लग गए। तो ये फेलियर बेसिकली इसी किस्म का था। मैं ये थियरी पार्ट अभी नहीं ले रहा हूँ आपका। क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट जो एग्जिट ग्रेडियंट है, हमने लास्ट टाइम देखा था, ये एक सरसरी दृष्टि से फिर से देख लेते हैं ताकि आपको समझ में रहे। बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, हर बार एग्जाम में पूछा जाते हैं और आपको इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट की। The submerged weight of soil is WS and this equation we have seen last time, that जो submerged weight WS है वो uplift जो प्रेशर है, अपवर्ड जो प्रेशर है, जो अपलिफ्ट फोर्स है, उसके इक्वल करते हैं तो हमें क्रिटिकल कंडीशन मिलती है, और उस क्रिटिकल कंडीशन को हम इक्वेट करेंगे तो हमें क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट मिलेगा। और ये जो WS है, ये दिस इज सबमर्ज्ड वेट, वो हमने देखा था कि जो यूनिट वेट है 1 - n SS - 1, and this is nothing but n is the porosity and this is the specific gravity of the soil particles। तो ये इसमें पुट अप करते ही हमें क्रिटिकल वैल्यू मिल जाएगी क्रिटिकल ग्रेडियंट की, और वो इस फॉर्मेट में मिलेगी हमें। ये इक्वेशन हमने देखा था एक बार कि इसका जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है प्रेशर का, जो ब्लिग ने बताया था, उसके अगेंस्ट खोसला ने अलग तरह की थियरी दी थी, दैट द प्रेशर रिडक्शन इज नॉट लाइक दिस, और वेरी डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जो अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है वो स्ट्रेट लाइन में नहीं है। यहाँ 100% से 0 स्ट्रेट नहीं हो जाता, यहाँ पे ये थोड़ा कम है और यहाँ पे ज्यादा हो जाता है। ये फ्लोर का लेंथ है हमारे स्ट्रक्चर, यहाँ कहीं पे हमारा स्ट्रक्चर बना हुआ है, यहाँ अपर स्ट्रीम है, यहाँ डाउन स्ट्रीम है। तो यहाँ पे जो स्ट्रक्चर बना हुआ है, यहाँ पे ये कोसाइन कर्व फॉलो करता है। तो ये जो प्रेशर है H/π cos inverse to x/b, this formula was given, this is distribution, you could say this is pressure distribution below the floor of the structure। तो ये जो प्रेशर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन दिया हुआ था, ये खोसला का दिया हुआ था, इससे कैसे एग्जिट ग्रेडियंट निकलता है आप देखिए। ये फॉर्मूला जो प्रेशर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का था, द प्रेशर अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर is equal to HS, this is the seepage head, this is HS is the seepage head or the head up front if there is no tail water, upon pi cos inverse 2x/b, and this exit gradient now can be written in terms of like HS/pi 1/d root of lambda। This is exit gradient, equation of the exit gradient, that is the seepage head divided by pi 1/d root of lambda। And what is lambda? Is 1 plus root of 1 plus alpha square by 2। This is the equation of this lambda, and alpha, this introduced term, is nothing but b/d ratios। So this is important here, you should understand this. This is very important factor which Khosla has taken into all his derivations, that alpha is B by D. B is here nothing but the base width of this floor, this width of the floor or breadth of the floor, and D is the depth of pile, or in some cases it is also depth of the floor. If there are no piles, then we take this D as the depth of floor. If there are piles and we are considering and calculating something, deriving something for the pile, then we take D as the depth of the pile. So alpha is nothing B by D ratio. This is a very simple ratio, and this lambda is nothing but 1 plus root of 1 plus alpha square by 2. This lambda. So this lambda has been introduced here. So what we are introducing here? Ultimately, we are introducing B by D ratios here in terms of, because here nothing, these all are constant. 1 is constant, 1 is constant, 2 is constant, and alpha is same. So alpha, the ratio has been created in this format, and to understand the behavior or distribution of force, that lambda is equal to 1. You can say these are empirical formula based on many experimental readings they have arrived at. So lambda is 1 plus root of 1 plus alpha square by 2, and then the GE, that is the exit gradient, is the seepage head by pi. This is pi has been like came out of this distribution which they have assumed here, the variation cosine. Then 1 upon D, D is the same D here, and root of lambda. Now this exit gradient, when we say gradient, then we define it h by L, but this is exit gradient, so this has been defined slightly differently. But in if you look at the different variables here, hs, h by L, and this L is nothing but the length. So if you put up this values of lambda and B, then you will get this in form of B. Lambda would be B, here breadth, so breadth is also L. So basically the gradient is h by L, but exit gradient, the Khosla has given a special kind of derivation, that is hs by pi 1 upon D root lambda. So this is exit gradient derivation given by him. Last time I explained you this the analysis part of that, the composite structure. If we take the whole structure at a go, then it would be difficult to derive the partial the equation which is their Laplace equation, and the complications which would generate out of the derivations would make it like job very tedious. So what he has done, that he has reduced the structure into few simplistic structure only for the purpose of analysis, So this, he has assumed that the whole weir along with its floor, that it is consisting of 3 major parts. First part is that floor with an upstream pile with a depth D, and similarly floor with a downstream pile with the depth D. And then the second was that there is an intermediate pile, and this is the floor. And the third is that floor is having depth or thickness T. You can say this is D or T, thickness of the floor. In earlier 2 simplification, he has not taken the thickness of the floor, and now in the third simplification he has taken, this is the third variable, independent variable he has taken. Now what is this? Khosla's method, again we look at. You please go through these points. These would be helpful in understanding. What it determines, the residual seepage head, that is at key points. Residual seepage head means wherever we are calculating what is the seepage head left, or you could say uplift pressure, what is left at that particular point. So in the first variable, second variable, and third variable, seepage head will be calculated at key points. Which are key points? These are junction points between pile and the floor. Then बॉटम पॉइंट ऑफ पाइल, जो पाइल का एंड होता है, जो जमीन में जहां पे जाके पाइल खत्म होता है, वो बॉटम पॉइंट ऑफ द पाइल, वहां वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. एंड बॉटम कॉर्नर्स ऑफ द डिप्रेस्ड फ्लोर. डिप्रेस्ड फ्लोर क्यों बोलते हैं? क्योंकि ये रिवर बेड के नीचे कंस्ट्रक्ट होता है. जनरली ऊपर का जो मटेरियल है उसको हम रिमूव कर देते हैं और उसके बाद जो फ्लोर करते हैं वो मैच हो जाता है फ्लोर, जो रिवर बेड का फ्लोर के साथ जो है. तो ये फ्लोर को हम डिप्रेस्ड फ्लोर कहते हैं. तो ये एक मेन मकसद था कि जो रेजिडुअल सिपेज है, जो सिपेज हेड है रेजिडुअल, डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स पे, क्रिटिकल पॉइंट्स पे कैलकुलेट खोसला की तरफ से करें. फिर एग्जिट ग्रेडियंट जो हम हैं वो कैलकुलेट करें. एंड देन व्हाट दे हैव डन, they have simplified all these calculation and presented things in terms of curves, कि जो कर्व प्रेजेंट किए हैं उनसे डायरेक्टली इनकी वैल्यूज हम निकालेंगे क्रिटिकल पॉइंट्स पे. जो कर्व्स खोसला ने दिए हुए हैं जो आपकी बुक में है, वो किस चीज की वैल्यू देते हैं? फाई की वैल्यू देते हैं. द कर्व्स गिव द वैल्यू ऑफ फाई, द रेशियो ऑफ रेजिडुअल सीपेज हेड टू द टोटल सीपेज हेड. Residual seepage head to total. Total is the H head up front of the weir, and residual at that particular point, whether it is 40% left or 50% residual head of the total head, like that. So at key points, and the directions for reading the curve are given here. This is first curve you look at. This is Khosla's curve for cutoff at downstream end. Means there are sketches drawn here. This is first sketch, this is second sketch, and this is third sketch. In the first, the cutoff or the pile is on to the upstream side. In the second, the pile is on to the downstream side. And this is the floor with thickness T or D. This axis is the values of alpha. Alpha is B by D, and here he has plotted in terms of 1 by alpha. So ulta uska D by B, and D by B 0 to 1, and here 0 to 100. What is this? Scale for 5 P by H into 100 in percentage. P by H, the seepage head. P by H, P remaining H is the total. P is the uplift pressure at that particular critical point. H is the total head, and that is the 5. We have seen this function in previous slide into. So for a given value, we could find out, say this is for the depressed floor. This is for point D. This is point E. This is for point D. This is for point E. Where these points are? These are the points C, D, E, C1, D1, E1. And in case of depressed floor, these are the notation used by the Khosla. And in the IS 6966, you will find the notations. So this is the depressed floor. This is D hyphen and D1 hyphen, two corners of the depressed floor. So basically this curve is for the cutoff at downstream side. So assume this we are computing values for this sketch only. And D and E, here and here, the values are like here. This, if 1 by alpha or D by B ratio is 1, if you assume 1, then values would come out like for D, say 45 around, and for E for 74. This is if we assume this 1. If this ratio can be calculated as per our design. We have to fix the depth of cutoff and initial depth of cutoff and initial breadth or width or total length of the floor. So based on that initial assumptions, we have to find out these ratios, and these will give us a kind of the residual head P in terms of total head. So this curve is valid only for the downstream. Now this is one more curve. It appears difficult, but it is not. Just try to understand that these curves are for intermediate sheet piles. Now the ratio is taken as B1 upon B. B1 is this. Here this is the B. Total is the B. B1 is the intermediate sheet pile. This whole whole graph is for intermediate sheet pile. Intermediate sheet pile is located somewhere here, having depth D again, and its distance from the upstream is B1. So this ratio is B1 by B, and this value of phi C, C is where? Point is this C. Look at this point C. This is C, D and E. So the value of phi C, function C or residual head C, you can understand in that way, that PC by H into 100, if we go 0 to 100, then for different value of B1 by B and for different residual head this. So this is fixed for us. For initial condition, we can fix the location here, and we will come to know the value of B1, and we have already fixed the B. So this suppose 0.5. So in that case, what will happen? 0.5, and for any graph given over here, any graph we can pick up and find the value of PC by H. H we know, so PC can be calculated. So that is nothing but the residual head at point C. So these graphs are standard graphs given for specific structures. He studied specific structures and given, but these are good for all alluvial structures, the structures built on alluvial soil. So that is what we are understanding right from beginning, that we are studying structures, civil structures created on alluvial soil, and seepage subsurface flow is prominent in them, and failure may occur because of that force. So that is what we are understanding here. So that PC left over here can be calculated from this ratio. So this is C only. Then you might be interested in understanding the pressure at D. So onto the other axis here, this is phi D, and this gives PD by H. H is again the same, but this pressure is D over here, where my arrow is, that bottommost portion of the pile. Now, when we are interested in finding the values of residual pressure seepage head, then we have to take these curves and these values of B1 by B. So these values are going 0 to 100, 0 to 50. To calculate PD pressure, residual pressure at D, we are having values from 0 to 50, whereas to calculate at C this pressure, we are having these values 0 to 100. So there are certain things written over here. These are the instructions given, that C is presented here, D 50% up to presented here, and E is not at all presented. If we are interested in finding residual head at E, where is the E? Flow is taking place in this direction. This is upstream side. So this flow takes place here and goes like this. So here would be the lesser residual head, here a little more, and maximum out of these 3 points, maximum would be here. So what has been done, that we are having graph for these two, and rest of the things can be computed in this manner, which is given instructions here, that to get FD for values B1 be less than 0.5, these instructions are given. So there are graphs given in the IS code, and we need to refer also these instructions. I'm not going to read out for you to how to calculate again. This is the method to find the residual head, the phi E or the psi E at E. This is the method, and we'll get the values. This is one more curve, and this analysis you look at interesting graphs. Like, 60, 70 years old. that time the calculator and computers were not in use. Nowadays, there must be some programs available for Khosla that you give input and output values. Otherwise, these were done manually. All calculations, and this is real headache to understand and do the calculation, read the graph. But in actual practice, all these now must be available in some sort of software, simulative software, in which we could simulate the flow through the soil media, and we could calculate the residual seepage head, even using this theory. In softwares, these theories are coded. In new education policy, the students would understand coding right from standard 6. So we should not now get afraid of that how coding works. Even if you are not doing, but how it works, we must understand. So every equation, every graph, everything of Khosla converted into certain software, then that software, what is input and what is output of that. Now we are understanding that the process, what happens in between. Input is given, output is taken. What is the process in the software? So that process of Khosla we are understanding. Now, so this process curves for the exit gradient. This is scale for alpha. Alpha is not 1 by alpha here onto the x-axis. Is alpha means b by d ratio, say 0 to 50. 0 to scale of alpha 0 to 50. Now onto this scale of lambda and scale for 1 upon pi root delta. So pi root delta exit gradient, if you look at the equation here of the exit gradient, then there is 1 upon pi root delta here. So that is what is the constant value. H is head up front, maybe variable. D depth you can control. So that's why, and lambda here is that equation which I have previously mentioned and written over here. So this is a scale. This scale reads out scale for 1 upon pi root delta, 0.05, 0.1, and so on. And scale for lambda is like 5, 10, 15, 20. Now this is curve alpha versus lambda, and this is curve alpha versus 1 by pi lambda. So this is variation shown here, but we should not infer when there are two scales used in the same graph paper. These are the two scales for the same x-axis, two vertical different scales are used. So if you normalize them, then sketch, this graph, this chart may not appear like this. So be aware always when there are two variables are drawn onto y-axis, then take care while taking the understanding what is the scale. So this is for a particular scale that two curves, curve 1 and curve 2 would appear like this, and this is the variable. This is to compute the various dimensions. These are helpful in fixing the b by d ratio in initial conditions. When we start we start iterations, then the first iteration, then 10th iteration, 20th iteration, and so on. So this graph is helpful in fixing the initial b by d ratios, as well as finding out the exit gradient and correlating the exit gradient at least with the given b by d ratios. Now the analysis part. What is the analysis? Analysis appears nothing in that we are only interested in uplift pressure, force. We are getting through analysis, we are getting pressure or force at key point, critical points of the structure. And after doing that analysis, we obtained, suppose we have received certain output after that, but they are not the correct output. What is there? That the curves are for specific cases only. In actual practice, we have to consider assembled profile, not the independent variable. We have to consider the assembled profile with the piles at upstream, downstream, intermediate, and floor with thickness. That is what we need to. We are analyzing the Khosla has done analysis of independent variables. He has drawn the graph for independent variables. Now, if we assemble it, if we integrate it, then we have to apply the corrections. Combination of simple profile need to be considered and corrections need to be applied. Correction for there are three corrections as per our assumption. Correction for the thickness of the flow, correction for mutual interference of the piles, because we assumed piles separately. Correction for the slope of the floor. This I haven't mentioned, but if the floor is sloping, floor is not horizontal. Floor in the independent variables is assumed to be horizontal, but in most of the cases, the bed of the river is not like horizontal. It is always having slope in 1000, one in 1000, one in 2000, and that slope, the structure, the floor of the weir would also be having the similar slope. So for that slope, we need to apply the correction. Correction are very simple, and there are only 2-3 slides left. I would give you the information for the correction, and then there would be like the true forces acting, the true uplift, residual uplift pressure left on critical points can be or could be computed. So this is the first correction for the thickness of the floor. Earlier we assumed there is no thickness. Now there is suppose thickness T1 here. This is thickness T2 here. Then here thickness T3, this is the first case of the pile onto the upstream side. This is the intermediate pile, and this is the pile at the downstream side. And the thickness is varying. Thickness is constant, and that can be taken T1, T2, T3 like this. Now this variation here that we have taken, we have considered this C, D, and E. We have not taken considered this thickness T. So what is right? Pressure at actual point C1. The pressure at actual point C1. C1 is this, but Khosla has computed at C. So pressure at actual point C1 and E1. This is C1, E1. C1, E1 can be computed by considering linear variation. This is very interesting. He has simplified the problem that he assumed that pressure from here to here is linear. So linear variation of the pressure between point D and point E and C. This D, E, and C, the variation is linear. Upfront is linear. Onto the rear side of this is linear. So when we are interested at point C, when pile is upstream, and then correction for C1, then now this correction for C1 would be linear, we are assuming. So residual pressure at D, residual pressure at C, residual pressure here, this is D and this is C. So this thickness we have assumed divided by the total depth. Earlier depth was from here to here, D. Now we are taking D1. So QD, phi D minus phi C upon D1 into T1. This is pressure linearly divided into this, and this is correction. This is correction. Now we have to add this correction or subtract this correction from the computed correction. This pressure at C1, now this is point C1. If you are with me, then look at this. This is point C1 and this is C. So pressure at C1 corrected because of after applying the correction, what it would be like phi C. Phi C, this pressure we get from the chart of Khosla, different charts given. So we read it from those charts and then we apply the correction, and correction is given linearly. So phi D minus phi C upon D1 into T1. These equations are also given in the IS code and you could refer. And likewise, this plus sign or minus sign depends. We are here increasing the residual seepage, QC plus this. Whereas in this case, you look at for the intermediate pile, here it is being deducted, here it is being added, and on corrections for at the downstream side, this is also linearly interpolated between point E and D at downstream side, and then applied that E1, the new seepage pressure would be like this, but it is deducted. So that depends whether the pressure would be getting reduced or increased as we move in the direction of the flow. And we take these variables E and D. How we take these variables E and D? Okay, I'm not going to explain because this is a long process. When we do solve a numerical on it, then things would become more clear. I'm taking you to the next correction. That is because of correction for mutual interference of the piles. And this was the equation given. The percentage correction for mutual interference of pile is given like this: 19 root of d by b1 d plus d upon d. Whereas this d, b and d are explained onto this. Small d is the depth of the pile on which we are interested, that what is the mutual interference or effect of the intermediate pile of depth d, this pile 2. We are understanding the interference of this pile 2 on pile 1. Pile 1 is having depth d and pile 2 is having depth capital D. And interestingly, you will find that the depth d is not measured here to here. This is very tricky. Why this has been taken from here to here? Because total pile from the bottom of this floor is going this much down. So in fact, this depth is achieved this much. So D is taken. If you draw a horizontal line from the first this pile, then whatever D is coming, we have to take that. So this B1, B hyphen is the distance between two piles. This D is this, and this is the capital D. So all variables are now very clear to you, that we are understanding the mutual interference of pile, the interference of one pile on other. In this case, we are understanding the interference of pile 2 on pile 1. So what is this? Pile 1 having D plus T upon D, and we put, then we'll get the value of C. And this is percentage correction for mutual interference. So this simple equation was used by Khosla, and he has given the correction. This correction is positive for points in the rear and subtractive for points in the forward direction of flow. So that is, again, as I explained to you in the previous correction for the thickness of the floor, this is also could be positive or a negative. This is the example written that how it becomes positive and negative correction. Now the correction, the last correction, there are three corrections sought by the Khosla, and this is the third correction because of the slope. So various slope positions of the floor can be taken if floor is not horizontal and having. So this is very rare that floor is having a 45-degree slant, and that much correction is needed. No, this is not very rare. So slope may be like 1:8, 1:6, 1:4, or like that, and corrections are like 2% correction. We have to give the value. So percentage pressure under a floor sloping down is greater than that under a horizontal floor. If floor is your downward, then definitely it pressurizes the formation, and in that case it is greater. This is greater. And likewise, the percentage pressure under the floor sloping up, many times we give up slope while glacis, creating glacis kind of wear, or whereas there sometimes we go also for the up slope in the upstream direction. So percentage pressure under the floor sloping up is less than that under a horizontal floor, and these are the correction. So corrections are positive and negative, depending. Positive if it is a downward slope, and negative it is the same correction would be negative if it is upward. And I think this is the last slide for this. and